are plenty of things to talk about, like, how to avoid them and make sure that you never have to visit one, even though you pay for one. What was the longest you ever had a gym membership that you never used?
It's current. It's where I am right now.
You have one that you don't ever use?
Yes. It's been just over a year, and I've paid for it every month.
Nice. Do you have a contract?
Yes.
Oh, so you...
Well, no, I don't. I mean, I could... no, I don't have if you're asking, do I have a time frame that I have to... No, I do not.
Well, that's good. So you pay monthly, and you could quit anytime if you really wanted to.
Yes.
That's good. The only time I've ever had a gym membership, I had one to an unnamed membership, but it's a national chain of gyms and things like that. And I started it when I lived in St. Louis, and they actually had you sign a contract, and it was a 2-year contract. It was very inexpensive. Though I was just out of college, it could barely afford even the least expensive. And while I was in St. Louis, because I had people to work out with, I used it all the time. But then I moved to Atlanta, and I couldn't get out of the contract because there was a gym within 30 miles of my home address. And that was the fine print inside of the contract.
Wow.
So I ended up having to pay for it for another year. And never used it once.
Well, why would you? Within 30 miles? Right? I mean, how far within 30 miles?
Well, the gym itself was, I think, 15 miles away from me, but that's 15 miles in Atlanta. It's not LA or New York, 15 miles, but it is still, it's not fun to get to, at least back then.
Wow. There's some fine print for you.
Yeah. I will never, ever sign another gym contract. I rarely like to sign contracts, period, unless I absolutely have to get what I want. But yeah, there's never again will I sign a contract like that. I'd rather pay a little extra to be able to cancel whenever I want to. Not that I actually go to the gym, because I really don't, ever.
I have been very good about going at when I'm staying at a hotel. And I don't really like hotel gyms typically, because they're the equipment is usually substandard, and let's not say usually, let's say often substandard, and the most weight they have is 50-pound dumbbells. That's the most they have. And again, I don't lift heavy anymore, but that's kind of minimal.
For a long time I was using the gyms in hotels, but I honestly, I never go into any of them anymore. Anything I do, if I work out, and trust me, right now I haven't been working out. I know I should, but I usually do my body weight workout in my hotel room.
Well, that's good. You're still working out.
I try. Again, I haven't been good about it lately. I don't know what that's all about.
I do. Laziness.
But yeah. Well, yeah. You didn't have to say it. I think it was implied. Thanks, John.
Well, I thought when you said, I don't know what that's all about, that you were really looking for a solution. Apparently not.
We're all about coming up with solutions.
Yes, we are solutions oriented.
You know what it really is? I think it just gets in the way of my dinner.
Well, you could go in the morning.
Then it gets in the way of my breakfast.
Why don't you have breakfast first and then go?
Oh, because then I feel like crap. Why would I do that?
I totally agree.
I feel like crap before I have breakfast. Then I feel like crap after I have breakfast. So why would I want to work out?
So it's claimed that you should work out on an empty stomach. Now, I've heard both things, depending upon your workout probably. But when you're burning calories, it's what I've heard lately is that it's best to do it on an empty stomach for it in the morning.
I've heard that myself too.
And so I don't, and I usually
hopped up on caffeine.
And say it again. What about caffeine?
Hopped up on caffeine.
That's true. And I do that no matter what. That's the first thing I do when I wake up and I'm trying to drink water first, because I just heard that you should have water before you have coffee.
Yep. Well, I think we've discussed that before. The very first thing I do in the morning, if I'm home, it's a big glass. But if I'm on the road, I always get a bottle of water before I go to bed. And that's the very first thing I do right when I wake up is drink that entire bottle of water.
I often drink it in the middle of the night. Oh,
Do you really?
yeah. Well, it depends.
I'll
Sometimes
see. I would be up again and again
well,
and again.
and I may do that too, but I think you have to manage that appropriately. but depending upon what I've had for dinner or to drink the night before or whatever, in the middle of the night, you can be sometimes thirstier than others. But I mean, it really depends,
Sure.
how salty was the food or whatever. Anyway, but yeah.
Right. And if you're eating meat, from our last episode, if you're eating a ton of meat, it's probably very salty.
Certainly can be. And so anyway, but I'm the morning guy. I've got to do it in the morning. And then when I come back to the room, I'm usually overheated. So I've got to turn the air way down and then just sit there and cool down, because there's no sense hopping in the shower right away, because I'll just be sweating again in 2 minutes after I get out.
Right. Yeah, I have the same problem. And personally, I can't do it in the morning. I have a tough time. I have to if I work out, I do it in the evening, and then I can cool down and then take a shower and go to bed. But I'm just not. I honestly, the only time I ever have motivation to go to the gym or to work out or do anything like that is usually about 9-10 o'clock at night.
Oh man!
And I that's something I don't understand about my body, which is honestly probably why I don't work out as much as I know I should, because that is really the only time. And when I'm home, that means my whole family's already in bed. So I don't really want to make noise that way. And if I'm on the road, it's weird going down to the gym at 9 o'clock. It kind of is. In my mind.
It's interesting you say that, because when I'm the most motivated to work out is when it's like 4 or 5 in the morning and I'm lying in bed. And then I'm thinking of all the things I'm going to do when I get up and go to the gym. And sometimes I'll go back to sleep, but sometimes not, thinking about what I'm going to do at the gym. And then I get up and it's like, oh, who was thinking that? So I got to talk myself back into going to the gym. It's so stupid. Nice. But yeah, I am really, I have lots of energy when I'm lying in bed at 5 in the morning, apparently.
Well, if I'm ever up like that, usually, and you'll think this is 1, really funny, and 2, really sad, all at the same time, I'm honestly thinking about our next PoddiMouths episode. And then what I need to do
you're cheating on me.
No, I'm not. It literally is. What can I do to the website? Speaking of everyone, the website should be launched pretty soon. I know I said that on the last episode, but that's awesome. Actually I'm digressing to something completely different. We actually have a decision on which logo to use. I'm not going to announce it now, but we will.
Don't tell.
I'm not going to, but we will be launching our new website with the new logo here very shortly, probably sometime next week. While I'm on vacation, I will be working on the PoddiMouths website. That's dedication.
You better be doing it by the pool.
But in seriousness, that is what I'm thinking about. And that sometimes I can't get any sleep because of that, which that should be the time I get up and work out. I do admit that. But like you, I can't get the motivation to get out of bed. And
so you know what I started to do? I'll go to bed with my gym trunks on.
I do that once in a while too. It doesn't help.
And it helps a little, but I got to have like my shoes right there. And oh, look, my shoes are way over in my suitcase. That's it. I'm not working out. That's kind of how my mind works.
Yeah. Do you ever, both at the gym or at a hotel with a gym, do you ever use the pool?
Never.
Why not?
I'm not a strong swimmer, and I could become a stronger swimmer if I use the pool. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess. That's never been something I've done. And I probably should. So I don't have a good answer is the answer. There is, if I were home enough, there's a town about 5 miles from my house, and they do swimming lessons at the community pool. And for adults, and I could do that. In fact, I would kind of like to do that, I think, but I'm not home enough to justify it probably, or whatever other excuse I'm going to use.
That makes sense. For me, it's distance. For the one that's near us, we have a YMCA very close to us with a pool, and you have open swims, and then of course every hotel I have one. I bring my swimming suit, but I never get in the pool. And I think it's two things. One, distance, as I said, for the one that's close to home. And then two, either there or at a hotel. I don't want to do it with people around.
Yeah.
As much as I love people, I love talking to people, I love getting to know people. When I'm working out, and this goes with gyms, both in the hotel and public gyms, I just don't want to be around people. I don't want people to see me doing it. And I don't know what that is. It's not necessarily embarrassment. I'm not embarrassed. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to see other people sweating, all that junk.
Okay. So I understand that thinking, but and my wife may be listening to this podcast, but I would prefer to work out with hot women around.
Interesting.
Well, and it's not, I'm not picking anybody up. I've been married over 30 years, so it's not like that's going to happen. B, it's more of an inspiration than it is anything else, I think. And I don't have the same reaction with dudes who are in awesome shape. So, I'm not sure why, but that would be the only thing. Unfortunately, usually when I go to the gym at a hotel, and that's the ones I've been to most recently, it's a sausage fest.
Always is.
It is. And look there. I don't know. I don't know when women work out, but it's not when I've been going to the gym.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah. No, they're probably all doing it in their hotel room like me.
They probably are. And,
or they're going running, which is something that I honestly, I would love to be able to do. I physically can't. I have an issue with my foot that makes it very difficult for me to run. I won't get into that, but eventually I'll need to have surgery. So maybe that'll fix it someday. But I would love to just be able to run like I know some of our coworkers are big runners.
Yeah.
My wife for a while was a runner and was doing marathons. And I have a lot of friends that like to do marathons and things like that. Yep. I just find that fascinating. And I've never been able to do it. Not because of my foot issue necessarily. I've just never been in the physical shape to be able to do long distance running. I was much better at sprinting.
Me too.
But it still fascinates me. And it still looks to me like one of the best and most gratifying workouts, at least from the people that I see that do it on a regular basis.
I think it's like anything. There's self-justification too. You know, if you choose to run, you're going to tell people how awesome running is.
True.
It's like when you quit your job and you go to a competitor, you're going to say how awesome it is at the competitor because you have chosen to make that decision. I don't enjoy running. I never have. Even when I was in shape in high school, we at the end of, without going into too much detail, basketball was the sport when I was going to high school. And so everybody wanted to play basketball and several of us who were on the team. Before basketball season, we got in shape by going through something called conditioning. And that was it. I've got conditioning tonight. And it was 2.5 hours usually of just hardcore lifting weights and sprints and running backwards up a massive hill and so on. We finished every night of conditioning by running a 600-yard run. And it's 600 yards. It's not that big a deal. It was a big deal. We hated it. So.
No, and I can understand that too. I was never a big runner either. But I played hockey when I was younger, and I could do sprinting laps around the rink without a problem. But when if you asked me to do the same sort of thing running, I would be miserable the entire time.
I'm the same way. So I, like you, have friends who are awesome runners and marathoners and all of that, Ironmen, and I'm enamored by that for them, but not for me. It's not something that I would ever do. I can, like you, I was a sprinter, so I could sprint and run, 110 high hurdles and all of that. But anything beyond that, I just, no thanks.
So you had mentioned Ironmen, things like that. And so my curiosity, we've talked about swimming, we've talked about running, but what about bike riding?
I have a Harley. I told you that. Oh, you mean the other kind without the engine.
The man-powered, the push pedal.
I have a very nice hybrid, mountain road bike, mountain/road bike in my garage, hanging by its wheels upside down, and it's been there for 2 years.
Nice.
I know, and it's not. I don't dislike it. It's just, if it's a nice enough day to be riding my bicycle, I want to be out on the Harley.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't know if it's just an excuse, but yeah, we should. My wife also has an equally nice bike hanging by its wheels. Yeah. We should both hop on it and take it for a ride around town. And
I use the excuse that my daughter hasn't yet learned to ride a bike without her training wheels.
Yep.
And I'm going to stick to that for a while. I keep saying, when she learns how to ride a bike, I'm going to start riding my bike again, and we're going to do it as a family.
Yeah, it's obviously your daughter's fault. Yes.
Right, exactly. And as soon as she learns how to ride a bike, I'll find another excuse. But for now, I think it'll work very, very well.
It covers you perfectly for the purposes of this podcast. Well done, sir. Okay, so back at the gym, just a couple of, and so I'm going to have to go back in my mind. And without going into great detail, and Nick, I know you know this, but some of our listeners may not, that I just have been coming back to try to become more physically fit after fighting cancer. And that was oh my gosh, anybody who's been on chemotherapy for any length of time can tell you that it eats you up. It's really difficult, and I lost a lot of strength and so on. Anyway, it's coming back slowly, so I'm not complaining. It's just that when I used to go to the gym, it was it's a different mindset now. I'm just glad to be there, and I don't go as heavy and all of that. But when I'd go to the gym, there were some. So here's the thing. Here are a couple things I didn't like. Cardio.
I hate cardio.
But you have to do it. And I don't ever do more. I did 30 minutes the other day, and I was so proud of myself. When I first was able to go back into the gym after being off or almost off chemotherapy, I was delighted because I went 3 minutes on the elliptical machine, and I'm like, yes, okay, I'm on the way back. Well, I did 30 the other day, so I was kind of the same way. I took a picture of it, and look at me at 30 minutes, and it's nothing, but that's really all I'm capable of doing for cardio, because you can do 30 minutes of cardio even at a higher level, so it has more resistance. And still, I only do at the max, it's like 300 calories.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously, I can do that with how much Haagen-Dazs? Half a pint of Haagen-Dazs.
Half a pint. Well, along those same lines too, and I don't know about you, but 30 minutes on an elliptical or 30 minutes on a treadmill or something like that seems like a long time. I think part of it too, John, it's just, at least for me, it's just pure boredom. And that could be for running too. Why skating was more fun for me than running. Or, you talk about 30 minutes on a treadmill. Let's just use that as an example. You're not walking very far. You may have gone half a mile, right?
Sure.
I can hike for walking 5 miles.
Yep.
Up and down, the side of a big hill and be in the woods and enjoy that, and do that in 2 or 3 hours, and I enjoy every last minute of it. But you put me on a treadmill for 30 minutes and I'm just bored to tears.
Yeah, I know. So I've started doing a couple of different things that have helped in that. One is I will do like interval running.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I listened to the PoddiMouths podcast.
I don't need to do that because I listen to them while we do them. Unlike some people I know.
I do listen to our podcast. I think it's probably the highlight of my day.
You admitted it.
Do what?
You're thinking about our website while we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's one of the, so I'll run for a minute and then walk for 2 and then run for a minute. Because really for right now, that's about all I'm able to run on the treadmill. And hopefully that'll come back, because I used to be able to do that too, but switching back and forth. The other thing is I will watch a sitcom or even part of a movie or whatever. That tends to take my mind off what I'm doing, because as you said, it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah. I get frustrated with the movies and the TV though, because I can never hear them. And then when I start really working out and really moving, then I can't hear them over my breath. So I'm going to find every excuse in the book, John, not to work out.
I know.
Have you noticed that?
That's really working well.
But again, you put me in a kayak or something out in the middle of a lake, and I am happy as all get out. And I will work my little ass off to scoot that thing across the water.
Did you say your little ass?
My little ass. Little bitty massive.
Wow. Yeah.
I think I just get bored with the gym. And then of course I don't have the motivation to do anything else because I'm out of shape because I don't go to the gym. So it's kind of a catch-22. But you know what I did when I lived in Atlanta, I did have a friend who would play racquetball with me. We had several racquetball courts in our apartment complex, as well as a gym. And I think I just need to be doing something that I enjoy to actually get benefit out of it. But like I said, going to the gym itself or going by myself, which is kind of contradicting what I said about wanting people around, but going by myself, it's not appealing to me. I get bored, and I understand the health benefits of it, and I understand that it's needed. Yeah. I just don't like doing it. And I'm sure everyone's like that, and they just push through. I guess I don't have the fortitude to back that up for myself.
I go through waves of it. Unfortunately, I have sort of an addictive personality, so if I'm going to be addicted to something, it needs to be something healthy. But I go through phases where, I'll go every day and watch what I eat and all of that. And, then it starts to, and then my wife makes cookies. I'm going to blame it on her, and I'm out. And then suddenly it's like, well,
sure,
there's no point going to the gym now.
Right. Well, and that's when you need to go to the gym the most.
Of course. But
yeah,
I go through phases, and I think a lot of people do.
So going back, for me, it would be this way, but I'm curious. So you're paying for a gym membership right now. You're not really using it.
I'll probably I may even go this afternoon, but
okay.
I may not too.
Well, I was going to say, in my case, I would keep one just so I can say I have one, even though I would probably never use it. So it would be a waste of money for me. But in all seriousness, I do know people that have gym memberships just so they can say they have one, have no intention in using it. They just have it because if they have it, they might go.
Yeah, and okay, so I'm not going to judge anybody else because, as I said, I'm not not the guy that should be doing that.
I said I would do that, and I would be the one to do that. I don't right now, but I would be.
Lisa, my wife, used to be a fitness instructor before she retired, and she had students who paid her on a monthly basis, of course, as most instructors do, and she was very successful for many years. But she would always feel a little guilty as a small business owner that people who haven't come for 6 months, she was still billing them. And that's what they signed on for. And it kind of, I think, plays to what you just talked about, that some people, it makes them feel better that they have this membership, whether they use it or not.
Right.
So,
makes sense.
Well, I'm not sure it makes sense or not. And I'm saying that as somebody who's paid for the last year or so without enjoying my gym membership. But I'm going to.
See, now, off topic just a little bit. My wife teaches dance. And, if I had to, after the first year or two, we had to have a discussion about that. Because she teaches kids, and if she had someone that didn't show up, she didn't charge them.
Oh,
and it was, and it's still difficult for her to do that because she doesn't want to make anyone mad. She doesn't want to force these kids into doing something they don't want to do. But on the same token, you can't just to be in business. If someone decides not to show up, you can't not charge them. That's not the deal that they sign up for.
I'm not
now,
mad at
if you set it up ahead of time, that's
Sure.
different. I only pay whenever I come, but then you need to take money whenever they're there, and that doesn't work.
I'm not mad
way.
at my gym for billing me because they should, and that's how it works, But you have to be able to. My wife was much the same way and we obviously married up, both of us.
I definitely married up.
Yeah, so did I, because we understand what it takes to run a business, and even though it was not I can't speak for your wife, but I can for mine. She did not get wealthy running this fitness class, but but you still have to run it as a business, and so anyway,
absolutely,
I understand the consternation, but I think now we're paying for it by me not using my gym membership. Maybe it's just that guilt that's coming back around.
Yeah, it must be. It all comes full circle.
It sure does. That's funny. So there were other, and I pulled up. So this is funny from Cosmopolitan magazine, which I know you have a subscription to, but
absolutely,
I don't read it as much as I should. There are 12 things why to hate the gym. 12 reasons to hate the gym.
Besides the fact that it's a gym?
Well, actually, that may be one of them. So the first one is the music is terrible.
Yep, that's why you have to wear your own headphones.
Agreed.
And okay, so let's talk about that really, really fast. So when I go to the gym, I agree. The music is horrible, if there is even music.
Right.
So I will take my phone with my headphones. My ears are so freaking big, just call me Dumbo, that I have not found any earbuds that I can put in my ear that will stay in my ear.
I would never call you Dumbo to your face.
Do what?
I would never call you Dumbo to your face.
Why not? My mom did.
I figured she was just put up to that.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, the earbuds won't stay in my ear. And then, of course, you don't want to wear cans because then you're going to get those all sweaty and your side of your head gets all sweaty.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. I'm surprised because some people do. Even though that, like you, I'm with you. I only want to do in-ears, and that's all I do because I don't have elephant ears. But the cans, I always think about that they're going to be sweaty and nasty and. I don't know if you do this, but I actually follow The Rock on Instagram. I don't, but I like him.
I do. I like him a lot. And interestingly enough, there was a video he had posted recently on Instagram where he was on set, or he was near set, and he had gone for a workout. And I don't know if anyone knows this, and I'm not sure on the details. So I'm not an expert on The Rock whatsoever, but I have been told that he is like you, he's got an addictive personality, and he's addicted to working out. He loves to work out. So whenever he's on set, he'll go and find a gym and work out there. Well, at this last set, someone, I guess, came up to him and was talking to him about how he inspired this person to change their lives and so on and so forth. And The Rock hands him his cans, his headphones. So The Rock, long story short, wears over-ear headphones when he works out. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I still think it was kind of interesting.
Well, you follow him on Instagram. I said I don't really follow him, but I always like him, and clearly I don't like him as much as you do.
Well, that's weirdo. You don't like a lot of things like I do. I'm a little weird.
I know.
We've talked about this.
But I love
so
about
many
you,
times,
though.
John. That's why it's very endearing. I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And even though The Rock does it, and I would try to emulate him if I could, not with can ears. I just can't. Yeah, headphones. I can't do it. So currently, I have Wi-Fi Bose in-ears. And
fancy.
Well, fancy, but not so. They're not as cool looking as the Apple ones. What are they called?
Well, the Apple ones, and I've asked people about this. Actually, I asked Dennis from our last episode because he has some of the Bluetooth Apple Pod whatever their iPods or whatever, not iPods, earpods. Anyway, I asked if they stayed in his ear because the Apple, and not to diss Apple, I love Apple. Everything I own is Apple, so I'm a big Apple fan. But the earphones that come with the phones or with the iPods, they never stay in my ear. They are worse than some of the other in-ear phones that I have. I usually use Skull Candy because they're the ones that seem to fit the best, even though they still fall out of my ear half the time. And I've changed sizes. Most people are going to start commenting, well, you can change the size of the ear. I've changed them. Sure. I've done big. I've done small. I just cannot get them to stay in my ear.
You need to spend about $5,000 to get the custom ones like the
newscasters use.
Well, newscasters or I'm thinking stage musicians.
There you go. Yeah.
I would love some of those, but they're out of my price range.
They're way out of my price range.
Yeah.
But anyway, he has a set, and he said they stay in the ears a lot better. But I still don't think, just by looking at the shape of them, I just don't think they'll stay in.
Yeah, they're like,
especially if I'm moving a lot.
And the thing about them, and I've had Apple, the wired earpods, and they look the same. They just rest, it looks like, on the bottom, and so. Right. What I like about those, the ones I have, is that I can kind of twist them and they fit snugly in my ear. So they don't fall out if I'm, running or jogging or whatever crap I'm doing. And so there, and again, that's where I can understand your frustration with not finding any that can fit. Because when they're in your ear, and they fit correctly, it's great for working out. But I've had some that were too loose, like you mentioned, and then they like slide out when you get sweaty, and I hate that even more because then you have to wipe them off and wipe out your ear, and it's just
right.
Whatever.
I hate sweating, period. So
yeah, I don't mind it, knowing full well that I'm hitting the shower as soon as I'm done. So it's not that big a deal, but I don't. But we should be clear about the difference between just perspiring and being stinky sweaty, because there are some, mostly dudes, some guys at the gym who I don't know if they haven't showered for a couple of days or what it is, but then they start sweating, and dang, it's the gym I was in last week at a nice hotel. I walked in and it smelled like a sweatshop. It was disgusting.
Yeah. Well, some of it, quite honestly, you could probably rule out that part of it, that they hadn't taken a shower, and probably it's their diet.
Oh, that's a good point.
If you don't have a very good diet, you're going to have a different sweat, and you're going to have a different sweat smell. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be completely wrong. I am not a doctor, nor am I a scientist in any way.
You play one in podcasts.
I do. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
And you are the doctor of the PoddiMouths.
Right.
There's
Dr.
no question.
PoddiMouth.
Okay, number 2 on the cosmopolitan list, which you've already seen. Everyone parades about naked.
I don't necessarily think it's a problem unless, like you said, it's a sausage fest.
That I don't like.
I'm totally kidding, everybody. I'm totally kidding. It's all okay. No.
Wow. Most guys, and I'll say this, if it is a sausage fest, most of the time it's middle-aged dudes, sometimes younger, but when I was younger, I didn't need to work out as much. So it wasn't that big a deal for me. Now that I'm at this age and this shape, I need to work out more. So that's usually what's in the gym. And we, for the most part, dress appropriately. It's not weirdness or anything like that.
So in all seriousness, I don't understand this one, to be quite honest. And I know they have locker rooms. I know they have showers at most gyms. Even when I was a member, even when I was going to those gyms, even when I was in college and would work out in the college gym, and then I would go back to my dorm room, or I come home and take a shower. I never ever showered in the locker room. So I don't necessarily understand this. And even if I did, I don't think I'd be walking around naked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not sure let's see. I'm not talking about, so here's what they said to explain it. I'm not talking about discrete, inevitable nudity of trying to get dressed after a gym shower, but the full on towel free, here's my enviably toned groin striding.
What?
Yeah, this is, so apparently there's more of,
Where are they going to the Olympian gym?
It's
the Olympians
a Cosmo article, so I'm guessing it's a female writing it. But do they do that in the ladies' shower area?
I don't know. I've never been in a ladies' locker room.
I would spend more time there if
not for lack of trying.
There were people showing off their enviably toned groin.
Wow,
that's good verbiage. I have to give her credit for that.
Yeah.
Number 3, the fact that despite the immense effort, you've barely worked off your afternoon KitKat.
Only one KitKat?
Yeah.
I can't stop at just one KitKat.
Well, she's not talking about one rail of a KitKat. She's talking about the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Do you have multiple ones?
No.
Oh, okay.
And actually, I don't even do the full big blocks. I usually do the mini ones where they only have the 2 rails.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can't believe we're calling them rails. I think that's perfect.
I like it. It's the KitKat drug. I did 2 rails today.
I did 2 rails of KitKat. Now we have to think of something acceptable for Reese's peanut butter cups, because dang.
I peanut buttered my nose.
All right, now we've handled that. Number 4, most of the people in the swimming pool are unbearable. Again, are you a swim? I mean, would you go swimming?
I do like to swim, yes.
So I don't know. I mean, since I don't, I can't say. I've watched some who are, but you watch people doing all sorts of things who do them either wrong or do them to draw attention to themselves. There was a guy who, anytime he would get on the, oh gosh, what was it? I think it was the pulley system. So he's doing tricep pull downs with a rope, and he would always go, "No!" He would always just grunt really loudly.
And he only had 20 pounds on it too, didn't he?
I don't know. He didn't have as much as I could do. I always measured that way. But he was always, and it seemed like he was drawing attention to himself, or trying to. And, I'd always look at other guys and we'd roll our eyes. Dude, maybe you've got a little too much weight on there if you're struggling that much. You're going to have a grabber while you're doing tricep pull downs.
Well, this reminds me of 2 things. One, this is why one of the reasons I don't like going to the gym, because I understand I don't hold anything against people that need to make noises, because in some cases, athletes will tell you this. Tennis players are a good example. They do need to make noise when they do it, because that's how they are able to exert themselves. And
it's different with tennis, and here's why, in my mind, or my opinion anyway. It's because it's a trained action. It's like a golfer sets up exactly the same way and does exactly the same things, because it's muscle memory that they're utilizing.
You're saying exactly what I was trying to get across.
Sorry.
So you just said it a lot more eloquently than I did.
I interrupted you to say it eloquently, though. I apologize.
No, that's okay. But it is a trained action. It's something that they have to do. It's part of their routine.
Yep.
And which is why I don't like going, because of that, and maybe because I do something that I find would annoy someone else. And I do find things like that annoying as well when I'm listening to other people do that. I don't understand it necessarily. I do and I don't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the gym is different, because to me it's not a sport where it's, something that in order for you to lift that 140-pound dumbbell set, then you have to make that noise to do it. I don't know. I think if I'm watching a tennis match, okay, I'm there to watch somebody who makes the noise over and over. I think of Maria Sharapova, who does every time she hits the ball. And well, she does. That was a very good Maria impression, I might add.
That was a really good impression.
If you closed your eyes, you could almost envision her hitting the ball with that
my
particular
goodness.
screech. But
that was good. That was really good, John.
That's the way you. If you're lifting, 100 pounds in the gym, you should not be, every time. I'm not buying into that. I just don't.
I can see your point, and I think I think it varies depending on the person, and if that's part of their routine. And I'm trying to figure out a different way to say this, but let's use The Rock, since we talked about him earlier. It would not surprise me, and I've never seen The Rock work out, so I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had a specific routine. But he has built his life and his career around his physique, which is basically, he is an athlete.
Yes,
Whether you agree with that as a wrestler or not, he is an athlete.
But he makes his living because of his physique. And I think he's become a decent actor too.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised, and nor would it annoy me if he made noises when he was lifting 350 pounds above his head.
So if I'm watching someone like Maria Sharapova, I'm not offended nor bothered by that at all. If I'm watching somebody in the gym like him, I'm fine with that as well. That's what he's doing this is his job essentially. So yeah, I don't judge. But if it's Bob Jones,
but if we go in there and start doing that, then it gets annoying.
That's really all I'm saying. That it's not there's no big weirdness around it. But when you're trying to draw attention to yourself by doing it, then to me it's a little less. I'm a little less understanding.
Well, and that brings me to my second point that I wanted to make. Have you seen that commercial about the guy? And I don't remember. I think it's an insurance commercial. I could be wrong, but there's a guy, and they're talking about being in a gym, and he's talking about the fact that this other gym doesn't have enough mirrors. No, it's a gym commercial. It's for a set of gyms. Okay. I think it's Anytime Fitness. Don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But they say, I don't like this gym because it doesn't have enough mirrors. And then it shows him flexing and stuff in front of the mirror at the gym while he's working out. Anyway, awesome. It just reminded me of that.
And there are some people who do that as well. And number 5 on this Cosmo list is When Guys Try and Flirt, obviously written by a girl. But here's what she says. Right now, when my face is like a beetroot and I have underboob sweat patches.
I hate the underboob sweat patches.
When we get them, it's even less desirable.
Right.
I would say. But so that was pretty funny.
I couldn't imagine hitting on anyone at the gym. That just is not appealing to me. On the flip side, you're seeing someone at their worst, and if you're still attracted to them, imagine what they look like or how you would be attracted to them at their best.
You can justify.
I can justify pretty much anything. I should have been a lawyer.
Sorry, you're a doctor.
I could be a doctor and a lawyer. I told you when I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor lawyer with my pilot's license and fly around the Alaskan bush, helping people with their legal and medical issues.
You must be a crappy doctor if you have to be a lawyer too.
That's true.
You can handle all your own malpractice cases.
Yep.
Okay, here's another one. Number 7, and I'm skipping. The butt sweat marks on seats. But see, I wipe off all the equipment when I'm done. And so
me too.
Even hotels, most of them have, and I complain if they don't, have those,
wet wipe things,
antibacterial things. Yeah.
Yep.
And I wipe down when I'm done, no matter what. And usually
I wipe it down before I exercise and when I'm done.
Yeah, me too. And that especially dumbbells and things like that. Benches I usually don't before I lie down on them. It's no big deal. I'm going to shower anyway. But some of the equipment, dumbbells, typically in hotels, that's what I'm going to wipe down.
Right.
I hope in a gym, though, they do it regularly during the day, as they should.
You would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope, but that doesn't always happen.
I know. I still wipe them down. I just think I think the courtesy thing is probably lacking in general these days, but it's certainly lacking oftentimes in the gym. Racking weights is another thing that just drives me crazy when people don't do that. And it's usually guys, I will say, but
sure.
I try and, I mean, even if I just see them lying around, I'm going to rack them just because, you know, if you've got a 45-pound plate, there are some women and some dudes who can't lift that well and might hurt themselves or whatever. It's just, again, courtesy.
Yeah. Absolutely. What else
the
is on the
fees
list?
Are a crime, number 9.
I personally think that's getting better. And the reason I say that is in the early 2000s, when I had that gym membership that I talked about, 2001, 2002, something like that, my payment per month was $50, which I thought then was pretty expensive. I can get a gym membership now, and that was like I said, a big national chain. I can get a gym membership now at any given national chain that's even bigger for $10 a month.
Oh, wow.
They advertise them all the time. I mean, the most expensive one I've seen is $30 a month. So I think it's going the opposite direction personally. So, you know, I think it just depends on where you go and what membership. Now we have things through work where we can pay, I think it's $75 a month, and we can go to any gym anytime that's part of the network, including YMCA's.
Well, and so that's, I guess, that's fine. So I pay, I want to say 46 or 50 a month. And while it might sound expensive, it's Anytime Fitness. So I can go to Anytime Fitness in the US.
Right.
And so I talk myself into that because I travel and, that's beautiful. But usually if there's a gym in the hotel, I'm going to use that one because it's more convenient
and it's free.
And it's free or included. But yeah, it takes more effort to hop in the car, you know, and go someplace. So anything that would help me to avoid it, I'm going to do. So yeah, if it's close by,
and it makes a big difference no matter what. I going back to our earlier conversation about getting out and getting to the gym or going to the pool. When I was growing up and I had a pool in my backyard, I used it every day.
Oh, wow.
And I swam, but that's because I could walk out the back door and go swimming. If you asked me to live in that same house without a pool and there was a pool 2 miles away that I could go use to work out, you wouldn't see me there.
Right.
That it makes a big difference.
I agree.
And it's a lot of dedication. I have a lot of admiration, I guess is a good word for it, but I have I'm impressed by people that, like you, who will get in your car and go to the gym or go to a pool and actually work out, because I don't have the motivation. I have the motivation to do a lot of other stuff and it doesn't bother me, but it's not high on my list.
You know, for me, I think a lot of it is just getting in the habit of doing it. And that's just it. It's, you know, eating correctly and going to the gym often. And so, if I just would do it, what do they say, 21 times, and it becomes a habit, 21 days in a row.
Right.
Man, I can get to 18 all the time, but trying to get to 21 is really tough.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Weird male grunting noises is one of the others on our list. We talked about that. I think these are kind of throwaways. Number 11, the whole concept is just weird.
Well, I disagree. I don't think that's a throwaway. I think I've argued my case poorly, but I've argued my case about the whole thing just being weird.
So here's what she says.
What I mean by that is,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It just, not just getting there, not just leaving the house and going to a gym to do this, but also the fact that I can walk 4 or 5 miles up and down hills and be perfectly happy, but can't do 30 minutes on a treadmill because I'm bored out of my mind. It's not natural. That's not.
So she kind of looks at it a different way. She says, take a step back and actually think about what the gym is. It's a bunch of people really close to each other, panting, sweating, and ultimately getting naked.
Yeah. Well, I said that earlier too. I can do a gym. I'm okay with a gym if there's no one else there. I don't like that part of it. I like people. I don't like people in gyms.
But what if they're all hot girls?
Doesn't matter.
Come on.
Doesn't matter. I would feel too self-conscious.
Well, no, if
even if I look like The Rock, I would still feel too self-conscious.
Shut up! You would not.
I would.
I'm calling you out on
Nope,
that. That's
I would.
BS.
No, I 100% would.
Even if you look like The Rock.
Even if I look like The Rock.
How self-conscious do you think The Rock is?
Well, probably very, but he's able to push through it because most people that are in that position, in that job, tend to be very self-conscious.
Push through it. He's able to push through it because he can push 1,000 pounds.
True. Very true. How did we get? I know I brought him up, but how has The Rock pretty much taken over our entire podcast?
Well,
I wonder if we asked him to be a guest if he'd join.
I think
he probably doesn't have time.
I want to do the scene that he did with Kevin Hart in. I'll think of it. It's on my phone. One movie. Speaking of our movie,
which one? He's been in a lot of movies with Kevin Hart.
I know it's the
new Jumanji should be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, Jumanji was fun. I have it right here. I will get it because it's in my library. Central Intelligence.
Yeah, that's a fun movie.
Oh my gosh! When they're in the psychiatrist's office, and he's pretending to be the psychiatrist, and they're slapping each other on the face. That was the funniest scene, and the outtakes were even funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would replay that scene with him, and I would be delighted to do that. But
I'm sorry, he is a very talented gentleman.
Oh, there's no
very
question.
Impressed by him.
No question, and has a great work ethic, from what I understand. And he's turned into, as I mentioned earlier, he's turned out to and developed to be a nice actor too. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So he's made some pretty bad movies. I'll admit that.
Well, so has Jennifer Aniston.
Very, very true.
And so has who's the other?
Pretty much everybody. Tom Hanks has even made bad movies.
Yeah, but not many.
The
thing is with Tom Hanks, a lot of people, because it didn't do really well in the box office, would say That Thing You Do was not a great movie for him.
It was a great film.
I love that movie.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a difference between mainstream films and cult classics. There are bad movies out there that aren't either, but there are definitely some that are made that become cult classics. Clerks is a good example. Clerks is not a very good movie by any standard, but it made Kevin Smith who he is. And now what he turns out, it's incredible stuff. And it's not like he hasn't made bad movies either. It's not like Steven Spielberg hasn't made bad movies.
That's true. Okay, now we're leaning into our movie podcast, but
that's for another podcast, guys.
But we are going to do that because I think we both have some
opinions, strong opinions,
very good opinions. Brilliant opinions about movies. And you're going to find out how many that you've seen that I haven't.
Well, I'm probably going to know the same thing or hear the same thing. You probably have seen many movies that I haven't, so it'll be even. Sure. It'll be an education for everyone.
It's a good teaser because you'll have to tune in to see who's the freakiest movie person.
Well, I think I've already won that one, the freakiest part.
Well, don't spoil it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. It might change. You never know. We could learn something new. It's all about learning, people.
Or between now and then, I may become even freakier.
That's true.
Her last thing, number 12 on the Cosmopolitan list of things I hate about the gym. Everyone else looks bloody amazing.
Kind of what I was saying. I would feel self-conscious even if I look like The Rock. Because everyone else... Well, I say that, but I also disagree with it on the same side because if you're at the gym, I mean, we talked about that
you're doing
around
the holidays by yourself, aren't you?
No. But we talked about that around the holidays.
With myself.
When we did, that's my other podcast.
Yes, I
disagreeing
know,
with myself.
I know.
We talked about that when we talked about New Year's resolutions and how people tend to go to the gym a lot at the beginning of the year because they're trying to live up to their New Year's resolutions.
Yes,
so I find most people that go to the gym are people like us or people more so like me who are out of shape, who want to try to get into shape. The ones that are in incredible shape are usually at these more exclusive gyms or are in their home gym or are doing yoga or something else whenever we're in the gym. So I honestly don't see that many people that are in superb shape unless they're the trainer at gyms when I go, as little as I go.
Right. And you're right when you say the trainer, because I think a lot of those guys, there's no question that most of these guys, The Rock certainly has a trainer.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe multiple trainers depending upon where he is. But I think that's, and so have you ever thought of that?
And I was actually going to ask you that same thing. So I have often thought, and it's just a theory, and I'm sure it's a proven theory by someone else, but definitely not by me. If someone was to kick my ass, or I had a trainer that I had a set time with on my schedule that I had to be there, because most people that listen to this that know me know I'm a rule follower. I love to follow the rules. And it's both a character flaw and something that makes me hopefully reliable in a lot of people's eyes. So if I had a set reservation with somebody that I had to be there every week at this time and work out for an hour and I'm pushed to do it, I would probably look like The Rock at some point, because I would do it and I would probably enjoy it and I'd probably be a lot better at it. It's me trying to do it on my own is where I fall flat on my face. So I was going to ask you if you thought a trainer would help you, or if you thought maybe the same thing in your experience.
Yes. So I'm much like you, mostly a rule follower. I don't, it would depend on the trainer.
And you drive a Harley.
And I break rules too. So it would depend on the trainer for me, because I would have to want to go, number one. But if I didn't feel like he or she was trying to, or knew as much as I do about just because I know things doesn't mean I do them correctly. It's sort of like nutrition that you and I have talked about. I know what is the right thing to do typically for me, but I don't always choose to do that.
Absolutely.
So the trainer's the same.
Before you go on, and just to kind of help your point, the trainer doesn't have to know more than you. They just have to make sure that you're doing the things correctly, because they're going to be able to see things that you don't. Case in point, Tiger Woods, his father was never a better golfer than he was, but he was his coach for a long time, and he made him as good as he is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different rule when it's a parental thing like that. I think just because it's a respect
parents, but
thing.
I know plenty of coaches that are not better than their players, but are the ones that help advance those players along, or those athletes along further down their careers.
Well, and I know some male gynecologists too. So yes, you obviously don't have to be able to.
Wow.
You don't have to be.
It's a fantastic point, but wow.
To do what you're asking the other person to do. Yes, I agree. But I would like someone who is at least practiced in the art of knowing, what's going to work and what's not. So that would.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying a pure amateur. I'm saying they have experience, but they don't necessarily have to be better than you to give you the right direction.
Wise, yes. I would not mind having someone who understands physiology better than I do telling me, to do something that he or she might not be able to do. And so, I mean, that's fine. I have no trouble with that. It's just, it would depend on the person, that it would have to be someone who's motivational to me. And as you said, not make you feel, uncomfortable because, wow, look at the shape he's in or she's in, and look at me. If I felt more of that, it wouldn't encourage me to go and work out with a trainer like that. But trainers are not cheap, good ones.
Right. No, they're not.
And so, you think about that too, that is it, knowing what I know, should I be having to pay someone $300 or $400 a month to train me? And the answer, as you've said, as you've intimated, is yes. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do. It's just difficult when you travel as much as we do.
And that was going to be my final point before I started asking our listeners to chime in, was part of the routine. You had mentioned making it a habit. And yes, we can do it on the road because we have access to gyms and things like that. But part of it is it's difficult for us being on the road so much to make a routine, because the essence of our job, the essence of our daily life is never routine.
Right.
And that does make it not impossible, right, but it does make it difficult.
You don't want to fall back on excuses, but you're right about that. I mean, I guess I could travel.
I always fall back on excuses.
I could travel with my trainer. There you go. There we go. We'd fix that. I think my wife would be mad, because a hot girl would be traveling with me.
Wow.
Honey, she's the only
if
one.
It makes you feel any better, I do travel with my trainer. And she's very, very attractive. Her name is iPhone. Or Siri for short.
Yes.
Siri, open up Yoga for Dummies.
That's awesome. Good for you. You're brilliant. Yeah. Okay. Talk to our listeners and tell them what we want from them.
Tell them all the good stuff.
This is not a one-way street. We need them to give us some stuff on.
Absolutely. I love feedback. I know we know that some of our listeners are avid gym goers and people that work out quite a bit. So I want to hear from them and see what their opinions are and come up with some excuses. And I know how to argue my own excuses. So I don't necessarily want to have people instruct me on how to bypass my laziness. I already know I'm lazy, and I know that's the key ingredient in all of this. But I would like to hear some other excuses of why people do and do not work out, and give us your feedback and let us know. We already know we're full of shit, so that's no good either. But John, help me. I'm floundering here. What else? What other information do we need to know from them?
I mean, if there's something that you enjoy at the gym or dislike about the gym or whatever, but like us, you may have what we would call excuses, and I'm the first to admit that's what we have, or what I have for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But if there's something else, maybe there's some physical reason you can't go. Tell us about that, or tell us about what motivates you to go to the gym. If you are a gym goer, what gets you there? How do you do it? I said putting gym trunks on before I go to bed. I need to put the shoes on too.
There you go.
So it would be fun to hear from our listeners what their take is on something.
It would. And you can respond by going to our website and filling out a form when the website is live, which should be when, John? When did I say the website should be going live?
Very soon, when you're on vacation.
Very soon, which actually I say next week, but we're recording this a week ahead of time. So it'll actually be, I don't know if it'll be live by the airing, but it should be the week of the airing of this particular podcast. So you can go up there, and you can also be directed from there to all of our social media accounts. Instagram, we are PoddiMouths, or at PoddiMouths. Twitter, we're at MouthsPoddy, or Facebook at just PoddiMouths. You can go up anywhere and leave a comment. We'll also have some other posts up there that you can comment on and give us your feedback. Probably the little snippet that I do of all of our episodes whenever they go live. And then you can also go and visit Eat, Drink, Road on Instagram. See some of our adventures while we're out and about traveling, making more excuses as to why we won't work out. And comment on those and let us know what you think. And if you have any suggestions about other places in the cities that we visit that you think people might enjoy, please share that with us as well. So, John, anything else?
Yes, two things. First of all, Eat, Drink, Road, ... Eat, period, drink, period, road, period, just FYI. And
actually, I'm going to back that up because I did make a mistake in our last episode. I corrected it in editing, so probably no one will notice, and now I'm just shooting myself in the foot. It's actually because Instagram doesn't allow a period at the end of your username. It's actually Eat, period, drink, period, road. No period at the end of road.
Instagram curses.
Curses Instagram.
Yes.
But I did edit it out at the last one, so it doesn't sound like there's a period at the end. I was really, really happy with that.
Now you have to edit out my idiocy right there.
No, because I just talked about it.
Okay, so now we're safe?
We're safe.
Okay. Do you actually have a subscription to Cosmopolitan, or do you just
I do not.
Newsstand?
No, I don't have a subscription to Cosmo. Google is a wonderful thing. If I ever need to find an article, and they'll look it up there for me.
You can do it. We love our listeners. Thanks, Nick.
We love you guys.
You're awesome.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, John.
See ya.
Bye.